Assalamu alaikum, family. You are tuned in to the Sajdah Morning Coffee Talks. I am your host, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. Happy winter. We're going to be talking about how faith loves diligence. This is one of my favorite subjects. I love it so much. I made a sweatshirt. You can get it on my Facebook and Instagram channels. Just wanted to do something fun. But be a friend, tell a friend, and I'll be right back after a few short commercials, a beautiful prayer, and we're going to get into this subject. We'll see you on the other side.
O Allah, guide me among those whom thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what thou hast judged. Surely thou judgest, and none can judge against thee, and he whom thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art thou, O Lord, and exalted be thee above what they set up besides thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you. Welcome for joining us. Sorry for those few technical difficulties we had this morning. Our platform has been acting a little crazy. Ever since we really started this focus on money and business, the platform goes haywire. Even a couple of times where we've talked about like money and the science of business and stuff like that, I get these messages, oh, you violate community guidelines. This is probably not a subject that they want us talking about, which is precisely why we have to talk about it. Okay. But today we're going to do a little bit of a different twist on it. Let's see what's happening here once again. Okay, you should be able to see me now. I can tell that it's going in and out. We'll probably have to go to another platform until they catch up and get mad at us for talking about money. Okay, there, that should do it. Okay, and what I'm going to do is if things get a little crazy, we'll continue to record and I'll chop it up and bring it back to you guys. But I'm going to give it a couple of minutes because while we were waiting, I ended up just kind of going back in and starting over. So I'm just giving everything a chance to reset. I pray you all are warm, bundled up. You see me with my big sweater on today, got my hands in, even though I don't need that in the house, but I just thought it was cute to do. But yeah, it's wintertime. Wintertime is a really spiritual time of the year. I know a lot of us don't really like it, but it's a good time to reset. Everything has seasons, right? So the crops, the seeds, they have to have time to germinate. And then once the sun comes back out, they start to grow, they sprout, we harvest, we eat. So we're in that winter season right now. And I really want to talk today about faith. And the subject of today's conversation is faith, loves, diligence. And I love this topic so much that I actually created a sweatshirt for it. So I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but I just thought this was powerful. I was actually sitting up one day meditating, and it just came to me to think about diligence and faith, loving diligence. And when I started to just look it up, I saw that there was a lot of information on it, and some of which I want to share today. So I'm going to get going because I got a lot to talk to y'all about. I want this channel to be a sanctuary for entrepreneurs, builders, visionaries, and those who understand that destiny requires both a spiritual posture. Right? Again, those of you who are new, I see a few new people here. I'm your host, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad, and we're exploring a powerful spiritual law that has carried me through some of the greatest breakthroughs of my life, where spiritual certainty meets relentless effort. The unseen becomes possible. And I'm going to say it again. I was having a conversation with my mother the other day, and she said, you've always been very organized. And I don't even think I knew that was a concept. It's just kind of the way my brain works. I'm also very diligent and very consistent. And when I combine that with my spirituality, I'm very certain when it comes to my spirituality. I've been very certain about God since I was a very, very, very little girl. And I don't talk a lot about that, but just having those conversations with God, being very certain about the existence of a spiritual form that's bigger than me, that's greater than me, that I've always interacted with, that certainty has always given me the courage to be relentless about my efforts, to be disciplined, and to be focused. Okay. Because faith without structure is really just fantasy. So I learned to put structure around my faith, my spirituality. A lot of people operate, and it's a newer phrase. We say YOLO, you only live once. And so everything with them is about, I'm doing this. You only live once. You only live once. But I don't think I'm a very structured person. I do have some things where I just go, you know what, let's just do it. I'm very focused. Okay. I just believe that effort without alignment leads to exhaustion, whether it's exhaustion that we admit or exhaustion that we don't admit. But when faith and diligence walk together, you get this divine chemistry that activates within your life and your business. All right. So I want to explore these spiritual certainty guide steps. If I can help you, let me give you a definition for diligence. I was stumbling there because I was going to tell you a story about myself, but I don't want to make this about that. Maybe I'll tell you at the end. Diligence is defined as careful and persistent work or effort. That's what diligence is. And we're saying faith loves diligence. So our faith loves us to be careful and persistent. Okay. So spiritual certainty. You hear me talk about, I've always been very certain about certain things, principally, spiritually. Spiritual certainty is a frequency. And whenever I've made a mistake or didn't meet a goal, I could search for the spaces where I was spiritually certain. Sometimes I didn't know why I wasn't spiritually certain, but for some reason I wasn't spiritually certain about it, and I didn't hit the right frequency, and it didn't work. I'll give you this one example before we move in. Some of you know or don't know that I used to have a music company called Black Rose Music Group. I'm a creative. I'm an artist, singer, dancer, designer. Everything about me is creativity, interior decorations, everything. I'm very creative. And so art is a love language for me, how I communicate what I'm experiencing. And so for me at the time, in my intellect, it made sense for me to go into this music industry, my business. I could really help others find their authenticity. And so I went into that. And the business failed miserably by my intellectual standards, right? And at the time, I was just coming out of a non-compete agreement with a consulting firm that I had worked for. I had started to get some contracts, and I just rolled right on back into general business development because it just wasn't working. But there was so many weird things about the industry at the time. And when I see all this stuff happening in the industry, stuff coming out, I just said to myself, thank you, Allah, for making that not work out. I knew it was the reason why I wasn't spiritually certain, but I wasn't sure what it was. And I kept bulldozing my intellect thinking, but I'm smart, I'm creative, I can do this. And a lot of us are doing this with these different businesses, and we have to come back around full circle. And that's what I want to help us do today. All right. So spiritual certainty is a frequency. It's the quiet, unwavering knowing that your vision has already been sanctioned in the unseen. Your vision has already been sanctioned in the unseen. It's not about confidence. See, confidence is an external and is dependent upon performance. Certainty is internal. It's rooted in your covenant with God or your covenant with the divine, whatever language you feel comfortable. Certainty happens within. Okay. So sometimes when you see people and you say, well, they're very confident, they're very cocky, that oftentimes is a dependent action. When you possess spiritual certainty, you stop moving with fear and you start moving from authority. I think I talked a couple of weeks ago about knowing that you are the beloved of God and moving with that certainty, moving with that authority. So when you possess spiritual certainty, you stop moving from fear. So the fear is not what motivates you. It's your authority to be in the rooms that you decide you want to be in or that you find yourself in. You stop reacting to things and you begin to respond, right? We talked again about being careful versus being mindful. Careful, I'm reacting to a potential fear, potential threat, which can be limiting. Mindful, I'm reacting with authority. I'm moving with authority, not reacting, but being mindful, I'm moving with authority, and I'm making a determination as to whether or not something is something I should be afraid of or not, and how afraid I need to be. Okay. You stop, when you have spiritual certainty, you stop negotiating with your purpose. And this has been a big one for me because it's been a challenge for me and over the years because I don't see myself in a lot of ways that other people may see me. And so sometimes I'll get the purpose after the fact. And that's probably true with a lot of people. I'm going through something, I'm going through it for, I don't know what this is, but I kind of get it after the fact. But during the process, I'm negotiating. Like, what am I here for? What am I doing? What is this? Am I doing it right? And it really hasn't been until probably about the last 4 or 5 years that I stopped negotiating as much with my purpose and just start saying, let me submit. What's next? What should I do? Where should I go? See, certainty is not loud. It does not beg to be understood. It holds its posture, even when the evidence isn't up yet. Okay. So entrepreneurs, we say a lot of times, I believe. But belief with doubt woven through is not certainty. The kind of certainty I'm talking about is the spiritual technology that allowed our ancestors to build institutions with no blueprints and innovate with no permission. It's the same frequency that allowed the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to rise from nothing and respond to what he had been taught and build an international movement. Because faith is not idle, it demands motion. I know this is a lot. I hope y'all listening. Let me know in the chat what y'all thinking. Let's keep going here. Relentless effort is really a spiritual practice. I remember trying out for cheerleading, and we had to know how to do the splits. We had to do center facing splits, and we had to do them left and right. And so relentlessly, day after day, we would stretch and pull just to get those muscles so that when we got in that tryout, we could knock that out. I remember my cousins coming over, and we had to learn how to backflip and do roundhouses and things like that. And we relentlessly practiced it so that when we got in practice or in that tryout, we had it. Okay. So being relentless and having relentless effort, it's not about frantically hustling. See, some of us are so busy frantically hustling, and the frantic piece of it comes from us being afraid. If I don't make this phone call, I'm not going to have this money. If I don't do this, we're frantic. And the frantic piece of it is what's pinching you off from those big dollars you're looking for, and that big contract you're looking for. Effort is steady, intentional, disciplined, devotional. It's holistic. It's looking around and saying, what around me sets me up for where it is that I'm trying to go. Right? So you may say, well, I want this. I work very hard on it. You don't see me a lot in the streets. I'm not a big partier. I'm not accessing a bunch of energies out here. I'm very relentless and very focused. A lot of that has to do with me being a severe empath. So no offense against anybody who's not. They can go in and out of certain environments. For me, that's a challenge. So I had to learn how to support myself. See, when you understand your work as a form of worship, one of the things I prayed for, I remember saying this prayer, and I said, Allah, I want to make what I do, everything about what I do, whether it's how I dress, how I look, how I present, I want it to be a sign of worship to you. I want my effort to become an offering. I want my consistency to be a testimony of my faith. That was a prayer. And that's what has led up to this conversation we're having today. You cannot pray for increase and tolerate disorder. You cannot affirm abundance and execute with mediocrity. You cannot ask for expansion and resist improvement. That's a big one, because a lot of us resist improvement because we're scared. We're so busy, worried. We got to be careful about this and scared about that, but we never stretch. We never improve. We stay in our little bubble, in our little cocoon, and we think that we can just force everything around us to turn out the way we want, but we never change. We do that in relationships. We do it with our children, relatives, and I see a lot of people doing it with their children where they're like, I'm not going to change, but you better not turn out the way I turned out. And it's interesting because sometimes I don't know that we understand that by constantly exposing our child to a certain frequency almost guarantees that they're going to make decisions from that frequency. You all heard me talk about, I was reading my cousin's book a few weeks ago. And I remember thinking, wow, I was tapped into a different frequency growing up. And so my decisions were different from some people who grew up in the vicinity of me. But I'm not saying that to take credit for it. I had to then go into gratitude. Because I say, had this not happened, had my mom not gotten married, had we not lived in a certain area, had certain things not happened, I may have been in that same environment or around those same circle of people, around some of those same energies. And who knows what decisions I would have made that would have changed the complete trajectory of my life. So when we all understand that Allah's hand is on our lives, we can move again with that level of spiritual certainty. See, your effort, your consistent effort, that's your covenant. That's your evidence of belief. That's the doorway through which Allah sends you blessings. It's through your efforts, your diligence. Okay, let's talk about when certainty and effort actually come together. There's a sacred moment where faith and diligence actually meet, where what you believe internally is matched by what you consistently do externally. Some of us believe one thing, and then we go into an environment that doesn't match our belief systems, and then we get upset because people don't treat us based on how we believe. They treat us based on the environment that we've immersed ourselves in. This is something to teach us as a very young age. Again, me being an empath helped me with this, because I remember going in, and this is before college. I remember being in certain environments with certain people, like, girlfriends, and y'all go out, y'all hang out, and guys, depending on who I was with and the environment I was in, I noticed that men responded differently, or boys responded differently. And I can't be treated a certain way. I just have this allergy to being mistreated and disrespected. So I'm not going to put myself in these kind of situations. And the minute I see it, I'm starting to make my exit. So effort intersect. You will find your life beginning to accelerate. Why? Because you will begin to match your belief system with what you do externally. I have sisters that we have coaching sessions. They say, you know what? In addition to my business, I want a man. I want one that, makes a certain amount of money and looks a certain kind of way and da, 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 da. But they don't insert themselves in those environments. They're in environments where the men that are in the environment are exactly what they say the exact opposite of what they say they want. You got to make it make sense. It's math here, right? So what you believe and what you desire internally has to match what you consistently do externally. Okay? When you start making that match, and you may not be able to make 100%, but when you start matching what you believe with what you do externally, you'll see that doors open without you knocking on it. Resources will find you. Ideas will clarify themselves. You'll become keener in terms of scratch a lie like that. Your ideas become clearer. The right people appear at the right time. Some of the resistance you're dealing with may dissolve. This is mathematical spiritual law. Faith without diligence is incomplete. Diligence without faith is draining. But together, they create a frequency that pulls your destiny into the present, into modern times, if you will. Now, let's talk a little bit about the psychology of a spiritually aligned entrepreneur. And I talk about this in the book. If you don't have a copy of the book, the QR codes are there, the book cover's there. Grab a copy. I've got some book talks coming up. Come to the book talks. We have some really powerful conversations at the book talks. So come and get the book ahead of time. If you don't, they're available at the book talks, but get it ahead of time so that you can participate. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the psychology of spiritually aligned entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is spiritual, emotional, psychological, generational. We read from Closing the Gap where the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan broke down the activity of life and business. And maybe tomorrow we'll cover that again on the Coffee Talks tomorrow morning. We'll cover that little section of Closing the Gap where he broke that down. We did it during the psychology series on Thanksgiving, but we'll do it again tomorrow. So to build your business with spiritual certainty, you have to address your identity alignment. Like, who are you? What do you believe? And is what you're doing in alignment with your belief system? That's a big one for a lot of us in business, because some of us just go into things because we think it just, it makes money and it sounds good, and money becomes the driving factor. But does it align? Do you believe in it? Can you connect with it? So, does your identity align with what you're doing? Is your nervous system regulated? See, when you don't really identify with what it is you want to do and you don't really like it, or you're a really scary person, your nerves are out of whack. Your whole nervous system will be out of whack. You want to think through some of the money psychology or the inherited stories that you have inside of you, when it comes to business. Here's a lot of our parents. These are some of the divides in the Black community that we have to deal with. And a lot of you all don't like to hear about this kind of stuff, but I think it's so powerful that we understand some of the psychology of what we deal with. Some of us come from working class parents. And oftentimes working class parents will look down on people that have businesses, especially if they're struggling with business. And they'll make little statements like they need to go get a job, or I wouldn't have somebody got to come in and service me, because the working class person has come to believe. And again, this comes from us not having an hourly wage and then getting it. We've been made to believe that we're in a better space, especially if our parents are a little older, because they come through the Industrial Revolution where they worked at companies for 20 and 30 years. They look at some of us, especially even younger than my generation, that we're like job hoppers. Something's wrong with us. So if you have that kind of dynamic that was happening in your family, sometimes you got to think through and unravel that. Sometimes you may have come from a business family, an entrepreneurial family, and if you got to take a job just to make ends meet real quick or get some extra money, it may be causing you problems. So your nervous system is out of whack. And so in those coaching sessions, what we do is we help you with the psychology around where you are so that you can think in the right way, again, to begin to realign your identity and calibrate your nervous system. Okay. We deal with the emotional intelligence. We deal with being accountable for your gifts. Some of us have gifts and we take them for granted. Okay. So here's some things that you can do to begin to just work on the faith piece and thinking through. I'll kind of blow over that. I've been meditating probably since I was a teenager. This, as faith would have it, I remember watching television in my room. I might have been a preteen because we were living on Pinckney Street at the time. And I remember at 10 o'clock at night, there was a program that came on and it was called Hatha Yoga. And I thought Hatha Yoga was the lady's name. And I thought that the Hatha Yoga was dancing because I was taking dance classes. But before and after the Hatha Yoga series that she would go through, and I used to do it on the side of my bed, she would meditate. And I just remember feeling, I remember feeling excited to have a name for something that I used to do all the time. I would always sneak off and go in the backyard or go in my room and just sit and be quiet. And I've been doing it for years. But I think at that time, I got a name for it. And this yoga series that I thought was dancing. And then she would meditate at the end. And then I would say my prayers. And then I'd go to bed. And that's kind of been the process that I use, where I would meditate, calibrate myself, pray. Because sometimes you pray because you just got to just get in there and get your prayers in. But I try to calibrate a little bit before I go into prayer. But anyway, then there's gratitude. So focus on being grateful. If you're struggling with money, start looking around at all the things that you've produced with the money that you've been able to draw into yourself, and know that you have the power to be prosperous. Start to review your intentions. Why do I do certain things? Why am I doing this? Ask yourself, what kind of legacy am I leaving? What am I doing? If I drop dead tomorrow, what are people going to say? What did I leave? Whether you're leaving material or not, but what legacy, what example did I leave? What example am I giving to those around me? So start thinking about intention. And this is not meant to be heavy. It's not meant to be judgmental, because everybody has their own levels of motivation and their own things that they do. And then you want to begin to put some structure around your efforts or your diligence. If you're in business, what's your strategic plan? Do you have revenue targets? Do you have scheduled block times for work? Do you have operational procedures? Do you weekly review all of your stuff? Faith frequency. Remove negative influences. Add some uplifting things to your environment. These two right here I'm huge about. I'm very careful, very, very careful about what I watch on television, what I listen to, what I participate in. Very careful, because I'm always doing something where I'm way out over my skis, and any little slip up, I might fall and bust my head. So I don't want these little negative influences to begin to reprogram me. Okay. I try to have uplifting things in my environment. Okay. And then, I pay attention to what I'm manifesting, how things are moving, what's happening weekly. I ask Allah, what can I do better this week to align my faith with my efforts? Or what can I do better today to align my faith with my efforts? Especially if I made a mistake and I kind of went into an environment or did something that didn't really align with my belief system, then I'll come back and fix myself up. I know that my vision is sacred because it doesn't come from me. My work, the things that I put out into the world, that's my offering. It's my offering to God. And so I strive to move clarity and purpose and divine discipline. And I welcome every blessing that's appointed to me. Okay. So I'm going to, if you guys have any questions, put that in there. But I just want to, let me say this. Your faith is your foundation, but your diligence is your infrastructure. So think about it from a construction point. You got the concrete slab that you put down. That's the foundation. But then your diligence is the infrastructure. It's the walls. It's the rooms. It's the stairs. It's the infrastructure that you put on the foundation. It's what shapes and molds it and turns it into a thing. Okay? Your faith sets you on a certain direction or on a certain path. So your faith says, go this way. But your effort builds the road. So faith says, go this way, but there's trees, there's shrubbage. But your effort is cutting down the trees and the shrubbery as you're moving in that direction, or putting down the gravel or putting down the concrete so that you can walk in a clear path. Your faith opens the door, right? So your faith may get you to the door and get you in the door. But your effort is what walks you through the door. Your effort is what walks you through the door. So you can get to the door, but if you don't make the door, you're never going to get there. So this is my talk on faith, loves, diligence. And I love this so much. Like I told you, I made a whole sweatshirt out of it. I should have worn it today, but I was putting this on. Y'all chatting it up today. A lot of y'all. I see Keen X Robinson in the house. Says, Assalamu alaikum, Sister Sajdah, and the listening audience. Mom says, happy cold morning. It is certainly that. Okay. Brother Ronald says, peace and blessings. Okay, Brother Ronald, peace and blessings to you. Keen X Washington has a question. Why do you think it was so hard for you to submit to your purpose? I think I struggle with this. It's low self-esteem. Or your self-esteem being lower than what your purpose is. Like you just believe that this is something you're supposed to be doing. Maybe your parents never did it. Maybe you have some kind of divine responsibility that's been placed on you that's bigger than what you could ever have imagined. And you just don't see it. Some of us are insecure. So there's insecurity there that I would say that probably prevented me from submitting to my purpose. Insecurity, low self-esteem, not feeling worthy, thinking that it's for somebody else. It's like, who, me? And sometimes that's hard for us to accept, because in my case, I was confident and enjoying certain levels of success in a lot of areas of my life. And then I would get some kind of assignment or something that I'm trying to do that there'll be a lot of forces against me. Sometimes it's family. I used to be really affected by family and friends who I felt know me. Like, y'all know me. Y'all know what kind of person I've always been all my life. And then hearing them saying negative things about me, or hearing them not believing me or dissing me. I would be wrong to say that there was a point where it didn't impact me. Now I'm just like, whatever. Because what I understand now is that everybody sees things from where they are. And some people can't even imagine intellectually themselves doing something. And maybe for whatever reason, they can't see you doing it or me doing it either. So it doesn't bother me anymore. But there was a point where that was a big deal. You have some family members that are constantly telling you to be careful and be cautious, really because they're just trying to protect you because they love you, but that impacts you. So it's about unraveling, Keen, all of these things so that you could get to the bottom of what's impacting you. But those are some of the things that impacted me. Let's see. Brother Ronald says, good teaching. Learn to support yourself. That was powerful. Okay. Let's see what else we got here in the chat. Regional Sky Girl is in the house. I missed you when I was in Houston, sis. She says, Assalamu alaikum, family. I pray that everyone is well. I'm blessed and surrounded with Allah's peace and artistic energy. Amen. I want this for you too. That's right. Okay, let's see. Brother Ronald said business alignment is very important mentally, morally, socially, economically, and most importantly, spiritually. That's exactly right. Dress code is in the house. I love that handle. Says powerful. Thank you for sharing. This is what I needed. I am in this space. You are cracking atoms. That's the goal. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Couple quick announcements. I'm going to be at Masjid El Taqwa December 28th. If you go to my events here on the page, whether it's on Facebook or look through the flyers, you'll see it. You'll see a QR code where you can RSVP and come and attend. That's in Chicago, December 28th. I feel like I got something before then. I guess I have to let you know, or just tune in to social media. You'll check it out. We got lots of things for you to use as gifts, because a lot of y'all, let's face it, y'all still buying stuff. You ain't going in the store, but you online getting stuff. So buy while you so we got sweatshirts, we got all kind of stuff that's available that you can use as gift. This book is a great gift for entrepreneurs. So go out there and grab that as well. I have one of my friends, Jennifer Restyle. She is nominated for Content Fashion Creator of the Year. And it's on my Facebook page. I'm going to post it also on Instagram so you all can go and vote for her. So we got to get behind and push each other so that we can win these recognition awards. And what I said to Jennifer was, I see her with a show. I see a show on a network that mimics what she does on her YouTube channel. So I'm very certain that that's going to happen for her. So I'm telling you all, jump out there, go and vote. Jennifer is the one who does the thrift crawls, and she goes to like the different thrift stores and shows people how to style themselves and become very fashionable on a budget. And she's also a master seamstress. That don't help either. But we can still, those of us that ain't master seamstresses, we can still learn from her and how she puts things together. But even just being inspired by her creativity. And, you know, I love it because I'm an artist. Let's see. Oh, and make sure you support the but make sure you support the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House and the work that we're doing there. I'm working like a little busy squirrel behind the scenes, and I'll let you all know we got some things we're working on for the months of February and March, History Month, and extending beyond. So your support is greatly great. The website, ElijahMuhammadHouse.com. There's QR codes where you can purchase. You scroll down to the bottom. You can buy a sweatshirt. You can buy a hat. You can buy a coin. We're building a database. So you'll be able to log on and register this number on the back of your coin to a name. And then that becomes like your code So when you log in to schedule things, you get free access to a bunch of stuff with the coin for life. So we're building and working on that database now as we speak. What else was I going to tell you? Oh, check out, I expanded the website a little bit. So the website now, I like having different ways you can reach me. You just got to go to sajdahwendymuhammad.com. If you used to go to the old wendymuhammad.com, you can go sajdahwendymuhammad.com, or you can go to booksajdahwendymuhammad.com. You can go there. You can see some of what I have going on. And if you want the book, you can either Google me directly, or no, not Google, search me directly on Amazon, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad, and the book will come up, or use the QR code. It'll take you to the Art and Science of Business. You can join the movement and find out some of this powerful stuff that we have going on. We got some mastermind classes we're working on, some workshops. So get ready. Just get ready. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. We're going to go over that little section from Closing the Gap where the minister talks about business as the activity of life. We'll go over that tomorrow. And I'll put that on the flyer just in case y'all forget. Okay. But we'll see you. All right. Be a friend, tell a friend. We'll chop this up, give you some few little things to remember as you're out here going around throughout your day. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, everyone. So go out there, support and support. Buy Black this holiday season. All right. Remember, it's not personal. It's vibrational. Love you all. Assalamu alaikum.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history